Look at the stats. 5 out of the top 6 televised rated games on the WNBA this year all involve Caitlin Clark. The only one that doesn't was a second half of a doubleheader in which Caitlin Clark played the first game.
Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in being down. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back, too. I guess this... Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
If you're in the room, what are you doing with the Judge MVP number? Books are now 2-1, standalone favorite. What are you doing with the Judge number?
What do I do with the MVP? I let them bet Judge at what? Even money? Come on in. I mean, you have to acknowledge now that he's the guy.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Ferrall has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible, hanging out the bad seed, the broken a bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live, like you read about at the beautiful MGM Grand at the Boxing Media Center in Sin City, Temecula, beautiful downtown Las Vegas, baby, for the pay-per-view on Prime Saturday night at the Great Grand Garden Arena, right here inside the MGM, and we're ready for Tank and Frank, the Ghost, Martin, and of course, our boy the Monster, David Benavidez, fighting Vosdick. It's going to be incredible tomorrow night. They got everything going. The 100-fight anniversary, 30 years of great boxing in Sin City at the Grand Garden Arena, one of my favorite spots. I've been here coming to fights for over 30 years, and look who it is to start the show. Obviously, we're going to have Carver High with us in New York, but the one and only, the esteemed Jim Lampley styling on Coast to Coast today. And I got to tell you, it's a thrill to have you on. It's great to see you. I have friends that came to watch you do the segment here. My friends from San Diego who know you from San Diego. And it's just always an honor to run into you here in Vegas at the fights. And great to see you. Thanks for doing the show.
My privilege. Good to see you again.
So I saw your favorite fights of all time here at the Grand Garden Arena, and I've been here for a lot of them. Fred and I have known each other forever. Bruce Binkow. I have gone through a litany with HBO, Showtime, PBC Premiere, all the fight publicists, you name it, I've seen it all. But I've not done the fights you've done. I've just been here promoting them. You've actually been here calling them and doing everything else. What's it like for you to come back for this great weekend and this anniversary and the special events that are going on this weekend in Vegas?
Listen, it's always exciting and great to be here. I go back to the day when the key bases for the sport in Las Vegas were the Las Vegas Hilton, Caesars Palace, the Mirage, etc. So the whole MGM Grand experience began somewhere in the midst or early middle of my boxing blow-by-blow career, and it was a privilege to call so many meaningful fights here when my beloved publicist Fred Sternberg said, hey, give me a list of your 5 most memorable fights from MGM Grand. I said, you mean 500?
Yeah, right. Like, how hard was that to do it?
It was absurd. And I can still look at the list and say, hey, wait a minute, why did I, but at the end of the day, we could do that with almost any rich experience, and it's been a rich, plentiful, constantly reinforcing fun experience to call great championship fights here at the MGM Grand Garden.
What did you think when you saw your boy Fred get into the Hall of Fame? I was stoked for him. I couldn't be more thrilled. Hanging out in Conestoga. Look at him. He's in the Hall of Fame now. He deserves it.
I was thinking of the fresh-faced college boy that I met back in the Ray Leonard days when he was first getting into this entire enterprise and wondering, well, is this person going to be a lifer in boxing? Some people do it for a little while and fall out, but I think he's having fun, and it was a real thrill to be there at Conestoga and watch him as a part of a great induction class and enjoy it's always a tremendous weekend. You run into a lot of old friends. I was called up impromptu, without any warning, to make an introduction on Friday night to the entire audience of Mickey Ward. I didn't know I was going to be standing up and talking about Mickey Ward, and now all of a sudden, Smitty, Mr. Boxing, calls me up.
Smitty.
Yep, to do an introduction to Mickey Ward, and it was thrilling. It was great, and of course, it was sentimental because Arturo, his spiritual brother, is gone. You can't look at Mickey without thinking.
I was surprised that I respect your list full on. I don't question your brilliance in boxing, but I would have thought you would have put that at the very least one of the fights, the trilogy, whatever. Just their fights were so amazing.
Well, but we were talking MGM Grand.
Yeah.
The first Gaddy Ward fight is at the Mohegan Sun.
At the Mohegan.
The last Gaddy
in the
Ward
woods
fight,
in Connecticut.
The third Gaddy Ward fight is in Atlantic City.
True.
So it wasn't part of the experience. I had to pick one of the Barrera Morales fights. And the first one was not here, but the second and third were. It's not an easy list. And the only thing that was easy about it was, what's the single most memorable? The single most memorable for me had to be George Foreman knocking out Michael Moore to become the oldest heavyweight champion at age 45, because at that moment in time, Foreman was our expert commentator on HBO Sports boxing coverage. And I had the opportunity for weeks in advance to pull him aside at fighter meetings and crew meals and other HBO occasions. Say, George, how are you going to beat Moore? Holyfield couldn't find him, and he has better feet than you do. He's a southpaw. He's a mover. It's not a good style fight for you. And George had given me this sort of patterned response several times of, Jim, you watch. There's going to come a moment late in the fight when he will come and stand in front of me and let me knock him out. And so hearing that from him and kind of dismissing it and thinking that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and then watching it happen in front of my eyes, nothing is more memorable than that.
So honestly, when I'm thinking of it, you've done so many fights, and I'm thinking of all the fights everywhere. Like, I'm having flashbacks to the Fan Man fight at Caesars. I was there that night. I was sitting next to Frank DeFord, and he had a big mink coat on with fur around the neck, and I was a young guy, and I'm going, this is crazy that I'm sitting here with this guy, and there's a guy crashing into the ring on a helicopter strapped to his back like I'm watching some kind of television show, like a sci-fi movie.
So my experience is that I'm calling the fight.
I know.
And I'm in the middle of calling blow by blow.
Right.
And I get a voice in my ear, I'm pretty sure it was Ross Greenberg, saying, hey, look, we're tracking something. We're watching something. If you look up in the sky, you might see it, but don't get distracted. Keep calling the fight. We don't know what's going to happen, but it appears there's a guy on some kind of flying machine, and he may be wanting to head toward the ring.
What did you think?
I'm thinking,
what is happening here?
I'm thinking everything is crazy, but this gets crazier, and sure enough, he wanted to come into the ring, and he winds up. And, of course, you always have to, in your consciousness in these moments, you have to think about what else is going on which is of human meaning, he crashes into the same side of the ring where Riddick Bowe's pregnant wife,
she collapsed. I was on the air.
Yeah, and I'm covering that all of a sudden at the same moment that I'm trying to recap what's happening in the fight, what the crowd is doing, who is this crazy person on a flying machine. There are a lot of bizarre moments, and the Bogalata riot is another bizarre moment, but that was as bizarre as any. And then, of course, every fight has a backstory. And the backstory to that one was that Holyfield had called Emmanuel Stewart, my very dear friend, and invited him to come down from Detroit to Houston to ask him to train him in the fight. And Emmanuel goes down having watched the first fight and thinking to himself, there's no way that Evander can beat Riddick Bowe. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's just as quick, he boxes, et cetera, et cetera. And Bowe takes him out, not Bowe, Evander takes Emmanuel out dancing the first night in Houston. They're both big-time dancers, and they're out in a disco somewhere. And Evander is dancing with one girl, and Emmanuel is dancing with another, and they're facing each other, and suddenly Emmanuel gets this vision, watching Evander dance, and says to himself, this is how we can beat Bowe.
I think I can win with this guy.
Yeah, this is how we beat Bowe.
Hold that thought. We got Jim Lampley, luckily, for another segment with us from Vegas at the MGM. We're talking to the legend right now from Vegas for Tank Benavidez, the double card, Saturday night on Prime Pay-Per-View.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game Time Decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
20-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's the BetMGM offer of the week. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. For all the games in the NBA Finals. Set your picks and shoot your shot. And turn any game into a must-watch. Download the BetMGM app, and it's on.
All right, back in Vegas at the MGM Grand. Our thanks to MGM Resorts International, as always, for having us back in Vegas here at the resort and getting ready for the pay-per-view Saturday night on Prime. Premier Boxing, you get it. Tank against Frank. Benavidez the monster. Don't forget, Jim Lampley will co-host the exclusive viewer chat in real time throughout Saturday's Davis Martin World Championship HD live stream at 8 Eastern, only on payperview.com. Are you excited to watch the young Mr. Davis, who I've always liked? His appeal for me was his availability. A lot of these boxers through the years that I've known in 36 years of doing this here are unapproachable, don't like the media, don't like fans, don't like to do interviews, don't like to do this, don't like to do that. But every time I was around the kid, he was doing interviews at other guys' fights. He'd come to the media center. He'd talk to the media. He'd talk to the fans. He'd take pictures with the fans. He was cool to people. It didn't matter that he wasn't huge yet. Then he got huge and started knocking everyone out, and he's still that guy. I think he's got a little more of a chip. He's got a little more of an attitude. He's had some difficulties out of the ring, probably hardened him a little bit. But I thought that accessibility is what I liked about him, that drew me to him as a fan of his work in the ring.
I think it's a very good point. He's always been relaxed and comfortable with media. He has clearly thought from an early age, whether it's 12, 13, 18, I don't know, but he has clearly believed for a long period of time that he is a star, is going to be treated as a star, people are going to pay attention to what he has to say, and he goes about it with a legitimate purpose, even if sometimes it's, sort of behaviorally flamboyant in keeping with what people expect from a star prize fighter in the current ethos. He's very good. All you need to know about that is 27 knockouts in 29 fights. Unlike a lot of knockout artists who get it done by raining fire and volume on the opponent, he's selective.
Very selective.
Yeah, he's technical. He's not risk-oriented. He's seeking and
he's waiting for that one to nail him.
The moment. The big moment when he can get you with the one big shot.
Have you ever,
he's got the one big shot.
I've been fascinated because, I've known Floyd forever, and I went to all of his fights basically here, and, he was never a power puncher. He was a counter puncher and a defensive specialist fighting with speed, and he would get his shots in, but they were never overwhelming. For a guy his size, he's little, to have that much power and the ability to find that seam, to land that punch and to knock that many guys out in 29 fights, 27 knockouts. I don't care who you're fighting at that size. That's beyond skill. That's smarts and skill, the whole package.
If there ever comes a moment in boxing when punching power is not something of a mystery, point it out to me, okay? To my way of thinking, I'm now into my 36th, 37th year of covering boxing matches, partially for a living, partially for devotion and fun, partially for living out my heritage from my mother, who sat me down in front of a TV when I was 6 years old and said, watch this, listen to Don Dunphy, you're going to learn about boxing. There's never been a moment during all that period of time when punching power was not something of a mystery to me. Why does this one big, strong, powerful guy have overwhelming punching power, and why does this other one who looks the same way not have it? It's a hard thing to figure out. Tank has it. And he knows he has it.
Right.
And he behaves in such a way as to say, I know I have it. Mayweather knew he didn't have it. You're talking about Floyd? He faced the prospect of trying to sell to the public a style which is not, on the surface, the one most positive platform for selling to the public. And he got over anyway because he was brilliant in terms of understanding where media were going. And I say to everybody, Floyd Mayweather was the first great social media genius. He was the first person to understand how these media work and how you can create and cultivate your own audience.
And manipulate it.
And do it with whatever style you are most comfortable with.
So respectfully, I got about 90 seconds, and I know that's not enough time, but you mentioned your mother, and I remember my whole life watching you do sports, and I want to know, so you just said to me that she sat you down and turned you on to Dunphy and boxing, and you had done all these other sports. Do you credit her with you falling in love with boxing and it being your favorite
100%.
broadcast?
My father died when I was 5 years old.
My mom died when I was young.
My mother, when I was 6, put me down in front of a TV to watch Sugar Ray Robinson versus Bobo Olson for the middleweight championship of the world. She said, if your father was still alive, this is what you would be doing. Years later, she drove me to Miami Beach so that I could go to my very first live prize fight, which was Cassius Clay versus Sonny Liston.
Not bad.
February 25, 1964.
Not a bad fight.
Miami Beach Convention Center. I saved lawn mowing and car washing money for months. And those are the two platforms on which I ultimately became a boxing commentator when an executive at ABC Sports who wanted me to force me to leave my contract assigned me to boxing thinking it would embarrass me.
Really? Wrong.
I guess.
Guess again. Well, you flipped that.
I'm embarrassing myself right now.
No, you flipped the pancake on him. I got to tell you, incredible career. It's fun for me to sit here and talk to you. I've had you on the show over the years a couple of times. You may not remember me. Maybe you remembered my voice.
People remember you, Scott. You know, you're not forgettable.
It made my day, and I wanted my dear friend to come see you because he's a big fan, and my producers are big fans, and I just admire you so much and think so highly of your career and your brilliance in broadcasting. I always wanted to live up to guys like you, and it's just a special day to see you and spend some time with you. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Enjoy the fights Saturday night. And don't forget, everybody, on payperview.com for the exclusive viewer chat throughout the fight, 8 Eastern on Saturday night. My man, Jim Lampley, the one and only.
Thank you. Very much appreciated.
All right, there he is, Jim Lampley. We set it off hard today, didn't we?
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Ferrall coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
1.81 goals against average, 9.20 save percentage. He's also 6-2 in his last 8 road starts as well. The Oilers are a great road team. I actually think it's an advantage for them that they don't have home ice, that potentially 4 of the games are on the road. We've seen 56% of the games this year in the NHL playoffs, the road team has actually won.
Sports Rage late night, only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's bring it back to New York with the original OG, Carver High. I have already heard from my superiors that Carver High was not in approval of my behavior last night, going to see the Grateful Dead at Sphere and participating in potential felonies and massive rum intake, visual melting at the Sphere. Carver High, I'm sorry that I went out of bounds and behaved poorly for you again in Las Vegas. As you know, when I only sleep 3 hours in 48 hours, bad things can happen.
They can happen. So it looks like everything's going well for you out there so far. How was the Sphere being there for the first time? I've heard so many great things about that joint. Was it as crazy as everybody says, the Sphere in Las Vegas?
Yes, I would say, Mike, it was the coolest experience of my life. I am not even exaggerating when I tell you I have been to 4 Olympics, 15 Super Bowls, 30 media Super Bowl trips, the Kentucky Derby, the Indy 500, the Stanley Cup Finals, the NBA Finals, the World Series, and I never once had as much fun as I had at a stupid Grateful Dead concert at the Sphere in Las Vegas. I have to give James Dolan credit. Whoever thought of that building, that spaceship, that monstrosity in the desert, it's a giant ball in the middle of nowhere. You're walking in, they got a Grateful Dead head skull on the outside lit up like the moon. And I went in there, and I went from the 100 section down low by the stage up to the 400 to the roof. I wasn't satisfied being low. I was looking up and breaking my neck. I said, I want to go to the top and look down at this thing. So I went to the top, and it was very scary, and it was very, very steep. But I have to say that it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. I thought the visuals were the most remarkable thing I'd ever seen. I've seen the Dead now 14 times, and I never once ever thought anything of it. I was like, all right, that was cool, good time, everybody's tripping, shrooming, dancing, hippies, no big deal, I had fun, drink beer. But last night I saw something that was so extraordinary and phenomenal, I cannot equate it to anything I've ever done in sports. It was the most amazing experience. I went with my son, which was a cool thing, to take your son to his first Dead show, and to, we were eating street tacos, loaded hot dogs, had the rum flowing, spent a ton of money and don't care. The Dead played for 4 hours, and John Mayer is clearly a man that my wife, 34C, has said she wants to sleep with, as well as my heart surgeon. So that's 2 hall passes I got to give her. She said she wanted to spend a 3-day weekend with him in the Caribbean. When she saw his hand tattoo, which is right near the base of the guitar when he plays, not the finger portion up by the stick, the one down by the base has a tattoo. And the minute she saw it, when I sent her a video last night of the concert, it was all over but the shouting. She called me after the show and said she wanted to sleep with him immediately.
Wow. Stunning recap of your night at the Sphere Dead last night in Las Vegas. I only got like a minute here before I know you're going to bring Cuss in. Here's what's going on. At the U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2, second round, the afternoon wave is very much involved. Patrick Cantlay and Ludwig Aubert are both 6 under. They are on the course, of course, as part of the
Ludwig von Beethoven? Your boy Ludwig?
Ludwig von Beethoven is tied for the lead right now. Matthew Pavon is 1 back at 5 under. Bryson DeChambeau in the clubhouse at 4 under, along with Thomas Dietrich. Rory McIlroy is 3 back. Hideki Matsuyama is 4 back, as he is in the clubhouse as well right now. There is afternoon baseball. Yes, go ahead.
Wait, time out. I got 5 left. Didn't you tell me you were going to have money on DeChambeau on some tickets? Because I bet last night, drunk in a cab, I laid a bunch of money on Rory. I'm always getting burned on Rory in majors.
We have a lot of tickets on DeChambeau to win the U.S. Open, so hopefully he comes through. Scoreless in Chicago, Cardinals and the Cubbies, bottom of the 5th. With 1 out, nothing much happening there. And the opening game of the Euros, Germany already up 2-0 on Scotland in the first half, already smashing them, the host country, to get the Euros started.
As you know, one of the great drinking countries in the world, Scotland.
minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, with the great Carver High, the stuff of legend. He's back in New York. I'm in Vegas. He's very upset with me because I've behaved poorly again in Las Vegas. I did want you to know that later we're going to have the State of the Bruce speech. Of course, is similar to the State of the Union, where we'll have the State of Bruce. And Bruce did say to me yesterday, Carver High, when I first arrived, that I was fat and I had a mohawk. And then today he said to me, after he attended the Grateful Dead show, he said to me this morning, he said, "Man, are your eyes bloodshot?" These are the two things he said to me since he's been here. You're fat, you have a mohawk, and then today, your eyes are very bloodshot.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine that is what you're going to be like, whether you wanted to partake or not, walking out of that place.
Right.
I'd have to assume
I didn't do anything.
Whether you wanted,
I did
whether
nothing.
Whether you wanted to be involved or not, you were involved one way or the other. When you go.
So last night, right, I got to tell you the story. So I'm at this concert, and my son has never seen anything like it. All these hippies dancing, right? So, and the place is sold out. And I mean, every inch of this place is people dancing and smoking. And so I look over to my left, and there's this guy dancing so violently that he literally tipped over and fell and smashed into like 5 chairs and 5 people, and literally like bowling pins took everyone out. My man was spinning, and he was in like, I think he was on acid, and he had a whole thing going, moving and spinning and dancing and doing circles, and he finally tipped over, and he blew out 5 people, and my son and I laughed for literally 2 minutes, and the security was trying to pick up old ladies and men. They were on the ground like fish out of water. Chairs were tipped over. Drinks were knocked over. I was like, man, I am in hell. But it was fun. And what was really funny about it was that my son has never seen him and never heard of him, never heard one song ever. And yet, for 4 hours, the kid was dancing and playing air guitar like he knew every song they ever played. I have to ask you, as you know, Carver High, I am a huge Scotland fan. and I'm very upset that they're losing, but they never lose when it comes to drinking. And they are the professional world champions of drinking, and yet they're losing, you're telling me, at the Euros. I'm very disappointed, but I'm very excited that you've told me that the Euros have begun so that I have some exciting football to talk about in the middle of the summer.
Yes, today being the opening match, the host country always involved in the opening match, and 2-0 as Florian Wirtz scored the first goal just 10 minutes in for Germany. They are at actually it's not even at half yet. It's probably going to get worse. 2-0, 32nd minute right now. There. Tomorrow you get the triple header. That's when it really starts. Starting tomorrow, you get 3 games a day for like the next week and a half, 2 weeks in the Euros. The group stage is always a good time, that's for sure, here. So we have all that going on for you. You have a very busy. There's your odds to win the whole thing, by the way. England, the favorite. Even though they never win, they're the favorite. Even though they never win the Euros with France, Germany, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Belgium.
I'll have to still stick with Portugal and Spain in the midst of all that chaos. Do you ever pretend, Carver High, that it's just the World Cup, even though it's the Euros? Do you just ever just wipe the name off that it's the Euros and just pretend like it's the World Cup because it's so similar?
I mean, you could do a little bit of that. I think that the tournament has so much significance and it's so competitive that even though maybe it's not the World Cup per se, it's just a rung below it. You know, it's still something that's highly entertaining to watch. There's going to be lots of drama in it, so I'm not too concerned. You know, it has that feel though, because it's not like these dopey friendlies where you have half the guys not playing. This is mano a mano, best on best, and it's always a good scene once they do get involved. So lots of afternoon for you. The Cub-Cardinal game is flying, by the way. They started like an hour ago, and they're already in the 6th inning, so they must have somewhere to be. They need to go get a couple beers down the block at the Cub game tonight because they are moving in a very, very quick direction. Let me get this in now because I don't know how much.
What is that about? Like, real quick, the Cubs game, it's zeros. Who is pitching in this game with the double shutouts in the 6th at Wrigley? Is that even possible? They're not going to score runs on the north side today?
Kyle Gibson started for the Cardinals today, so he's on the mound. He's pitching pretty well. And then the Cubbies had the opener with the guy Wicks, and then Hendricks has come in, who usually stinks, and he's thrown 3 2/3 of shutout ball so far. So maybe things can bust open a little bit here in the later innings. I wouldn't mind it if maybe Bellinger or Arenado liked a homer. That would certainly be helpful to all of us this afternoon. If they
so
would like
I
to do
did
that
make a bet today. I just want you to know that I bet on multiple baseball games today and Rory.
Ooh.
And I did that in the back of a cab last night after the show. And I also did a parlay. As you know, Carver High, I do not do parlays. I'm not a parlay guy. It always ends up I lose one half of it and I lose my money. I get very frustrated. But today I have a parlay going at around almost 3 bills of I need the Astros and Padres to win, and I am betting on. I think the Astros are going up against a brutal pitcher. Right, today, and then I took the knuckleballer in the San Diego game. I am betting on the guy that throws funky, cold Medina, the screwball, knuckleball pitcher, throwing that funk, that I'm going to bet on the funky knuckleballer and the Astros. Who are aren't the Astros? They're taking on Skubal.
They're facing Skubal tonight. That's who the Astros have to go against.
So I did the high-risk parlay.
Okay, high risk. And what'd you say? You said Waldron, right? You went with Waldron for the Padres?
Yes.
That guy right there.
He reminded me he also reminded me of Waldo, which brought up a lot of memories.
Yes, lots of memories with Waldo. I hope you also parlayed both of the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals to be sweeps. I hope that you parlayed that too, because that's just awesome, right? Both of these are going to be over like within the next day or two.
Awful.
We're going to have no more hockey and basketball going to go slip sliding away on us. No drama whatsoever. It's great.
Let me just say this to you. As you know, I have to see a shrink. I need a doctor to help me because I'm screwed up in the head. I constantly have to go see my therapist because the NBA and NHL has given us an offering of nothingness. This is their championship round. This is their title. This is their world. It all boils down to who will win the title, the ring, the championship, correct? And I got two leagues that sell it like no other. In fact, today I saw a story that this weekend is can't miss television with Game 4 of the NBA Finals and Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And I have had better enemas than watching the NBA and Stanley Cup Finals. They have been so awful. No disrespect to the Celtics or the Panthers. They've been fantastic. They've played great. They deserve rings. They're going to get them. That's inevitable. That's not my point. My point is, I don't see how those two leagues can brag or sell or promote the crappy championship rounds I just watched. Those are the two worst finals that I can remember in sports that I've ever seen. Last night, I'm watching the hockey game, having a slice before I went to the concert, and it was 1-0 Panthers. I ate the slice. I took 10 steps. It was 1-1. I took the monorail 10 minutes. I got off the train. It was 4-1. I'm like, this series is awful, and the NBA is worse. We're in Vegas at the MGM Grand like you read about.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back in Vegas at the MGM. Don't forget to order the Premier Boxing pay-per-view Saturday night on Prime. Tank and Frank Benavidez, the monster, who did the show with us yesterday, taking on what I believe is the entire country of Ukraine at the same time. During the war-torn fighting with Russia, they sent over your boy Vadzik to fight against Benavidez. It was fun meeting him. But look who it is. It's my dear friend, Brian Custer. Now, he has become so famous and so huge in not only, he was already enormous in boxing, and did everything, Showtime for years, and did everything that mattered. And then he went to Bristol and started his career with ESPN. And he's become gigantic. He is doing SportsCenter. He's doing college basketball play-by-play. He's everywhere. And then one day, when I did TV with him a long time ago, before puberty, he said to me, "This will be your last television job you ever have. You're an embarrassment to the medium. You have humiliated me for the final time. I will not have anything to do with you in the future." And then one day, he invited me, listen to this, unlike my partner in my business who has a yacht and won't invite me on his boat. He's like, "What are you doing on the 15th? I go, "I'm working." He goes, "Oh, we're going out on the boat. I'm sorry you couldn't join us." Same thing with this guy. I'm in Vegas one day at the airport, and he goes, "All right, Ferrall, get in the limo with me." And I'm like, "Oh, man, I can go on a ride in your limo?" I'm like, what is happening here? I thought you didn't like me because I was white.
Well, first of all, let's just say this. You haven't changed. You always have me on your show. I don't know why, because you talk for freaking ever.
I know.
I don't even know why I'm here, because you're going to just keep talking.
Listen, didn't the other host want to choke me to death? Yeah. Remember he said one day I said something about his mother? Yeah. And he goes, "I'm going to kill him." And he said, I said, "I'm in the other studio. You can't even get in here. The door's locked." So your mother's a hoe.
So what he's saying is, we did do a show in New York. It was a debate show. And let's just say, again,
it was popular.
It was popular. They were doing it for sport. One of the guys took it a little too seriously, so we kind of went to break. And when we went to break, the guy said, "I want to fight you, Ferrall." And Ferrall said, "Well, come on in here if you're so big and bad." Egging him on, and the guy was ready to actually go into the other studio and fight Ferrall.
You know what's worse is that he was like a big tough guy, dude, and then he had a baby, and then he became like all the rest of us, a wussy. Once he had a kid, he was like, "What are you doing?" I go, "What's that?" He goes, "It's my diaper bag." Right? I cannot believe the size of your sons, honestly. Yeah. If I could swing walk in here. Come here. I'm going to ruin the show today. We're going to bring him in here.
When he saw them, they were like 5 and 6.
I think they were like vomiting on themselves when I saw them last. Look at the size of these dudes. Yeah. I mean, they really make you look feeble and weak. I mean, you're like a woman now compared to them.
The crazy thing, he's the youngest. He just turned 14.
My man.
That's David. And
my man.
I saw a guy, Sam Watson from the PBC.
Right.
Saw him, and he said, "This is your son?" He goes, "Your son? How old is he?" He said, "I just turned 14. He said, "You sure he's your son or LeBron James' son?"
If I had hair that great.
I know.
I think if I had hair that great, I might get legs 7 days a week. Now I'm 1 day a week at best, but I could get 7 days per if I had to do like that. When I walked in here yesterday, and I've said this already on the air, but you haven't heard it. I walked in here yesterday. I hadn't seen Bruce in 4 years. He goes, "Jesus, you're fat. You got a mohawk?" I was like, "Hey, listen, bro. I'm almost 60. I'm lucky I have any hair. You don't have no hair.
I got none.
I'm lucky I have this." So I try to like pimp it up a little, and he's like, "Is that a mohawk?" I was like, and I go, "Look at my belly." He goes, "Jesus Christ, Santa." I'm like, "Well, you know I had open heart surgery, so I'm like, am I allowed to die and gain some weight?" I see Cole. I haven't seen him in a year. He goes, "You look awful, man. Are you stoned?" I was like, "No, I just had a rum." He's like, "You look awful."
Oh my God! All he does is flip it. Do it. Do it all the time.
He won't even do it.
That's all he does.
Now you're
he
embarrassing.
Just flips his hair all day. That's all he does.
So, you got to be proud of them. I remember when they were like pooping their pants.
I know. Now look at them. Yeah, man. I love. They love coming to the fight.
Are they good to their mother and your wife? Because your wife used to like me. Yeah. She went out to dinner with me once. Yeah. One time she went to dinner, and then when she left, I remember I was going this way, he was going to valet to get in his limo. I was walking to the parking garage, South Park, and I heard her go, "That's the last time we're going out with that white boy." Foolish, loud ass. Embarrassed me in public.
I don't know if she was ready for you then. You know what I mean?
But
you were acquired taste.
But I liked her school. Your punk ass Ohio State and Dallas Cowboys. At least she was like the Troy. Yeah. She's smoking hot, and you're over here like the Buckeyes and Dallas Cowboys.
I raised them right. Buckeyes and
Cowboys.
Yeah.
What is happening?
I raised them right, bro.
What is happening? So, 2 questions.
Come on.
One, life has to be great with what you're doing now with your career on ESPN and everything, and still doing boxing, still doing big things, pay-per-views. And then what do you think of Tank and the Monster tomorrow night? I'm excited to go to a fight. You know, they stopped bringing me here when, they blamed me for COVID. They said that Ferrall guy came in here and started sneezing on people, and then the whole country shut down for 4 years.
It's unbelievable.
It's true.
This guy's like this he's on 10 all the time.
That's what they said.
Like this all the
and
time.
I don't even do drugs.
So, listen, I think it's going to be a great night. I think it's going to be a really exciting fight between Tank and Frank. Athletic guy talking about Frank Martin. Is the moment too big? We'll find out.
He's had 18 fights. And this is a different stage.
It's a different stage, man. It's something different, especially with Tank.
This is like watching Floyd work people over between 35 and 50, where every fight was like, I'm just going to win, and I'm on the side of the building.
There you go. And then with David is great, man. He is exciting.
I'm afraid of him.
And listen, he wants to make a mark at 175 and show people, hey, look, better be Evan, those guys. I'm here. And the only way to do that is to get a knockout. And it will be the first time he's fighting somebody taller than him, too.
Do you like doing the ESPN stuff? Because I know you have fun doing the play-by-play.
Yeah.
It's different than boxing, calling about college basketball games. I heard you doing college basketball. I was like, man, am I jealous of that mother brother? He's calling NCAA basketball games. He knows I'm better at that than him. But you're better with suits than I am. I embarrass people in public. Where are they going to go to school? So my daughter's 17. She beats your ass. How old are you? 19 now. My son's 19. Where do you go to school?
High Point University.
High Point. I got a friend that goes to High Point. My son goes to San Diego State. He does strippers and smokes 500 bongs a day. Brian.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Here we go. All right, so back in Vegas at the MGM Grand, we got a lot going on here. My man, the styling Hawaiian, look at him. Johnny Kai Kamaka III, I hope I got it right, the fighting Hawaiian, PFL style. We like the PFL. There's a lot of violence there. And he's from Oahu. I was just telling him that I used to hang out in Kona, and I used to hang out in Kahanapali, and I used to hang out in Lahaina, and my friends are all from Maui. I have good friends that live in Maui that also run businesses in New York and here in Vegas.
Oh, nice.
How great is it for you to be blowing up for everybody in Hawaii and fighting and making a name for yourself?
I mean, it's definitely cool. Like all of us, in the fight world, we try to make it out from where we're from, make a name from where we're from, our small town, our small community. And to be from Hawaii, not only Hawaii, but then you're not from an island. It's hard to make it out. Just not much resources there as far as sports. With travel, travel is you puts you at a detriment, to making it out for your sport. And
so how'd you do it? You pulled it off. You busted your ass.
You gotta invest in your career. You gotta take chances. You gotta take risks. And then I moved to Vegas. That kind of helped kickstart my career, starting out with the UFC at first, and then leading on now to the PFL.
So you're a January 1 baby, and my son is a December 27 baby, so you get that 2 day after Christmas type of love. What's it like for you? Jan 1,
January
right?
5th.
Oh, Jan 5. So you're a few days after the holiday.
10
Did
days.
you ever like that when you were a kid, or having them jam together like that? Like he'd have Christmas, and then 2 days later we had to give him more presents? It was crazy.
It was actually pretty,
it was cool.
Like you said, because it was 10 days, so it let New Year's kind of was right in between.
Right.
So, and then my birthday was right around the corner, and it was right before I went back to school after Christmas break as well. So, right when I went back to school for Christmas break, and then my birthday again.
So did you feel like you took advantage of it? Like, I would have taken advantage of that.
I did. I mean, I loved it. You got to kind of play it cool because it's not in December.
You got to act like it doesn't matter, but it does because that's your day.
It's not in December, and it's like a week and a half away from Christmas, so you got to just play.
So how did they find you and turn you into a commodity? In other words, the PFL they like you. You're on the roster. You're making big fights. You got one coming up June 28th, unless I'm tripping.
Yeah.
And how did they find you? Who made you? Besides yourself.
I mean, obviously, everybody's path is different, but I started off in the UFC. I fought out my contract there, ended up with Bellator, which now leads us to
the merger.
So they kind of allocated fighters to still fight in Bellator or still fight in PFL, and they moved me to the $1 million tournament.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, works out. Your schedule's busy. You ain't got to worry about when you're fighting again. But at the same time, you gotta carry small to major injuries if you have them during the season. So you gotta. I'm experiencing it now going into the second fight, and you gotta be a true professional with.
What was it like for you to start in the UFC and your road through that? Because I worked for a couple years with the UFC. I did every card. Then I went to work for Scott Coker, and I did a bunch of Bellator shows with that dude, Mafia. By the way, he's 6'5", 240, and he told me before you came over here he would beat your ass. Look at the size of him. Look at the size of that guy. And he said to me, he goes, I will bust this kid's ass. And I was like, just stay out of it. The kid's going to do an interview with us, bro. We got to make him look good. So what was it like to go, and respectfully, I got a minute, to go from that to where you are now? I think you're doing great. So has it been crazy, rough, painful, stressful?
All of that. I got a family. I got a wife and 5 kids.
Oh, my God. My man busy as hell over here.
So,
look at you.
So, I mean,
you're a lover.
Yeah.
I mean, look at my boy, the Hawaiian over here, the lover, Mafia. 5 kids. He's got 3, and I thought he had problems. You got 5. You got a lot of mouths to feed, son. You better start fighting once a month.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for the PFL's activity. I mean, I'm back in 10 weeks. So, I mean, yeah, ups and all that stuff you said, all the stress, the journey.
Your boy Pedro Carvalho, he's doomed on this way. My man's doomed. Can we send him a letter and let him know the pain he's about to suffer in his life? My boy Pedro. But by the time he's done, he's going to be pelvic bone, they're going to call him. You're going to pile drive him with the people's elbow. I love you, man. Kai, thanks, dude. You're the man, bro.